I spent 2 years shooting in the dark, 2 years. Okay, I've tried everything. I've tried drop shipping. I've followed every guru. I tried to see what worked, what didn't. I tried crypto. I've tried pretty much everything under the sun. All of it while working at a restaurant job, going home, watching YouTube till 2 a.m., thinking that I was doing the right steps. And here's the thing, I wasn't lazy. I was doing the tangible inputs to try to make something happen, but I was missing one thing, and it was stopping to actually think. Okay, a majority of people never do this. They never stop and actually think about what's going on. And I don't mean sitting there and journaling about your feelings, this and that. I mean genuinely sitting there and thinking, why the hell am I broke? What do I actually need? What is going on? And what is the actual path for me to get out of my scenario? Now, most people never do this, okay? You guys probably know people like this. They just wake up, they scroll, they go to their job, they go home, they watch a few YouTube videos trying to inspire themselves, they scroll, they wake up, they do it again. They never sit, okay? It's all a distraction. They just are doing a bunch of random shit. I see this a lot with college students too. They just fill their day full of busyness, just random bullshit that doesn't get them paid and doesn't get them out of their situation, and they never just stop and think. And that's why I feel like college dropouts are some of the smartest people in the world, because they can sit and think for a little bit. They can sit there and actually have time to figure out how to go from their situation to where they want to go. And that's why I feel like college is the biggest scam. They just want to put a bunch of bullshit in your day all day long, just fill you up with bullshit to feed you, to just make you busy and not sit there and think. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down what I feel like I've figured out from going from absolute dumbass, working in a restaurant, having no idea what I wanna do with my life, dropping out of college at 19, to making over $200,000 this month with my business at 22 years old. And what I've noticed is I feel like the difference between the people that actually make it, actually do what they say they're gonna do, is not the right mentor, it's not following the right business model, it's not copying someone down to the T, it's not work ethic, it's not even really skill. Like, it's not even how good you are at something anymore. At the end of the day, like, ChatGPT can give you every skill you want in the matter of 10 seconds. So it's not even really about skill set anymore. It is literally just the way you think, okay? That sounds vague, so let me make it concrete. All right, so there are two types of thinkers, okay? Where's my pen? There are two types of thinkers. All right, we're gonna draw a line. I'm not an artist in the slightest. This is gonna look terrible. All right, two types of people, okay? This guy right here is the 95% of people. And I used to be this person too, okay? It's hard to not be this person, but I'm gonna teach you guys how to break out of that system. This right here is the 5% of people. What this person does is what they call an analogy thinker, all right? So they look at people that have seen success in the past, or just people in general that they wanna replicate, and they think, oh, I'm gonna do exactly what they do, and then I'm gonna get rich. They just follow an exact path based on what has worked previously. They follow trends, they copy it, they do what makes sense based on what has worked in the past, which actually sounds pretty good, right? But the second type of person, which actually sounds like it makes sense, but I'm gonna understand why that's not the right way to do it. The second person, okay, they go by first principles thinking, okay? So this right here is an analogy thinker. This right here is first principle thinker. I just want to tell you guys, I did not come up with this at all. Okay, I just want to tell you guys, by the way, I'm just regurgitating stuff that people have seen over time and time again. I've studied a lot of successful people, and that's what I'm regurgitating to you guys in sort of a new era. So what is first principle thinking? Okay, so a first principle is a statement of truth. It is something that just is, okay? So for example, if you think about mathematics, right? When you start to go to math, you start in second grade, you get like really easy beginner level math. And then as you get older, you get to pre-calc, then calculus, then physics, whatever. I don't know, I dropped out of college. But the first principle of math is 1 + 1 = 2, right? That just is. That just is, okay? That's just a fact. 1 + 1 = 2. And then as you keep going on to different math classes, it all builds off of this first principle. This is the same way you should be living your life. There's certain first principles that you have to do in business, in relationships, in getting healthy, that you cannot change. So instead of looking at what other people have done in their life and trying to replicate it, you're not thinking on the first principles. Now imagine someone believes that 1 + 1 = 3, okay? And then they go on to pre-calculus, then everything's gonna be fucked. Everything's gonna be fucked from the start because they just have a fundamental wrong understanding of the first principle. It's not because they're stupid, it's not because they're not working hard enough, it's because they're just mentally wrong. It's because what they're operating from is fundamentally incorrect. So this is what's happening to majority of people trying to make online money right now, okay? They're operating from a point of analogy, trying to replicate what other people have done rather than first principle thinking. Wrong beliefs about what business actually is, wrong beliefs about what rich people have actually done. And because that foundation is broken, everything on top of it ends up collapsing. Now, this is very apparent with all of these lifestyle gurus and stuff like that. You guys see one thing, you see some person making a lot of money driving a Lamborghini, so you want to move to Miami, get that penthouse, do that next step because that's what they did and that's what worked. But you guys don't understand behind the scenes, those people that got rich were thinking on the first principle. They just didn't show you it because it's boring. So, let me give you guys an example. All right, quick example I was thinking about earlier. So let's take a look at Elon Musk and Tesla. What did he do with the electric car market? Why do you guys think that electric cars were not widely produced for the public before Elon Musk, okay? Because everyone was told that electric car batteries are way too expensive to produce, and everyone just went by that. Every one of the top dogs in the car industries, the head of every CEO of whatever, said to each other that, oh, yep, these car batteries are too expensive, it won't be produced to a mass market, it can't be done. It was like $600 per kilowatt hour, whatever it is, completely uneconomical, it's never gonna work. Now, a person reasoning from analogy would hear that and think, oh, that's what everyone else is saying, that's what the top dogs in the space are saying, that's just true, right? It can't be done. It's never gonna work because they're too expensive. They reason from what's already been concluded by other people. But Elon Musk didn't do that, okay? So he basically stripped everything down to the first fundamental principle, okay? So he looked at a battery, say this is a battery, plus, minus, what actually is it, okay? And it's a bunch of raw materials, okay? So it's copper, it's cobalt, I don't even know what the rest of it is. It's just a bunch of raw materials put together, and the actual expenses came from the manufacturing, okay? So the raw materials weren't expensive. It was the manufacturing and upselling of actually making the battery with the labor. All right, my mic just died, but all right, anyway, so Elon Musk essentially said, I'm not going to take that. I'm going to break it down to the first principle and think for myself. So Elon essentially just went to each one of these raw materials. He figured out how much it was to actually buy the raw materials. He figured out how much it was to manufacture it in-house and created his own little supply warehouse. And by the time he was done, the price for batteries went from like $600 an hour to about like $80 an hour, okay? And from that right there, not accepting what other people have done for a surface level explanation and actually breaking it down to the first principles of what everything is, he was able to literally monopolize the entire electric car market. He had the same problem as everyone else. He had the expensive car battery. He had the same materials, this right here, but he had a completely different result because he didn't take that surface level answer. He went all the way down to the first principle and reconstructed everything from there. Now, that's not genius. Elon Musk is not a genius. He's a human, right? Anyone can learn this thinking process. You just have to think a little bit different and be aware of it. Like me, for example, I went from complete dumbass at 19, like genuinely a dumbass, like dropped out of college, failed English 3 times, to making a $200,000 a month business in 2.5 years. Like, I'm living proof that this works if you just change the way you think a little bit. All right, let's look at another example real quick. Examples really helped me break down this thinking process because I watched a few YouTube videos that were really boring and long to explain this process, and it took me a long time. This was before ChatGPT. I remember reading books about this concept. It took me a really long time to understand, but these sort of examples and stuff really help. So let's look at a different example here. Let's look at Jeff Bezos, okay? Bezos. If you guys go look at old videos of Jeff Bezos who made Amazon, you can see how confident he is in his company, although it didn't make money for the first like 10 years or whatever it was. All right, so Jeff Bezos, let's look at what he did with Amazon, right? All he did was figure out, what do customers want? What do customers actually want? Okay, not what do they say they want, not what other people say they want. What do customers, down to the first core, actually want? Not what the market's doing, what inarguably, undeniably, customers want. And a lot of times, the customers don't even fucking know what they want, right? So what do customers actually want? And this is where first principle thinking comes in, because the people will tell you whatever, okay? It's like getting a girlfriend, right? Like, girls will tell you that they want a nice guy that takes care of them and, you know, text them all the time. they have no fucking idea what they want, right? Because anytime they get something like that, it immediately doesn't work out. It's first principle thinking. You can never go on what people say. It's always what they actually fundamentally want. So he broke it down to this 3 things: fastest shipping, lowest prices, and I think it was largest selection. That's it. That's what customers actually want. Customers might say, oh, they want the best quality stuff. They want this, they want that. This is what they want. These are the 3 things that customers want, okay? You cannot find a person on the planet, a customer on the planet, that wants slower shipping, higher prices, and a low selection. You can't find it, okay? It's just not true. So he built the Amazon operation, although unprofitable for a really long time, based on these 3 principles, and now it owns the entire e-commerce market. This was not an accident. This wasn't a startup that happened to just blow up because of some, crazy coincidence. No, this was a bottom-up operation, okay? He started with the fundamental, which was the customer giving him money, figured out exactly what 3 things they wanted down to the core that was inarguable, and then made a business from there. Now, here's the hard part. When you start to reason with first principles thinking, it makes you uncomfortable because a lot of the times you're gonna be wrong, and you have to correct yourself a lot, and human egos don't like that, right? It requires you to slow down a little bit and really break things down 1 more layer, 2 more layers, 3 more layers before you make any sort of decision and take action. And humans, we want to move really quick. We want to just take action and just do stuff and go. Whenever you have like a good idea you think is a good idea, you just want to go with it. And it makes you feel productive, right? It makes you feel productive. When you sign up for college classes, people just sign up. They just pay the tuition. They just go. They don't break it down to fundamentally, where am I trying to go? What are the inarguable facts about what this is going to do for me? They just go. They just work. They just feel productive because that's what the human brain wants to do. It wants to just feel productive. So that's why 97% of people, they just fuck around all day. They just do little things. They read books. They read 10 pages. They wake up at 6 a.m. and then they go to the gym. They do all these little tasks that don't get them to their goal. And the internet has made it so much worse because you can sit there for 12 hours addicted to your phone and it makes you feel like you're making progress, but it's the same thing. It's just mental masturbation in your head over and over. You're actually doing absolutely nothing to get to your goals. You are just sitting there and you're just brain rotting and feel like you're getting productive information. In reality, it just goes in and out your ear because you're not really breaking down what you're doing. Now, you guys might have heard of Sam Ovens. He's the absolute GOAT, and he kind of came up with this whole like principle of thinking in layers, right? And if you don't have the fundamental foundation, you're kind of cooked from the bottom up. And the way that he sees it, if you guys are not familiar with him, is he sees it as, let me erase this real quick. He sees it as a bunch of people are trying to learn skill sets, right? They're trying to learn how to run Facebook ads. They're trying to learn how to sell better. They're trying to learn how to, outreach clients. They're trying to do all the top of funnel skill set things without focusing on the actual first principles of everything that's gonna make you successful. He has a whole 30-minute video breaking down these actual building blocks on what you should focus on, but I'll break it down kind of slightly. Number 1 is just awareness. You have to be mentally aware of what you're doing, right? Because if the business model fundamentally isn't there and you're just kind of out of your mind and you make decisions emotionally and you don't really know what's going on, none of this, even if you were the best person at running ads, is ever going to work because you're going to self-sabotage yourself. You're going to come up with a new business that the customers don't actually want halfway through the business. You're going to get shiny object syndrome. So the first thing is having mental awareness. Your ability to think clearly, prioritize certain things, figure out what the customers actually want, problem solve when things break. Then you just need, so awareness and understanding, then there's business knowledge, and then there's how to sell and market, and then there's actual tangible skills like how to run Facebook ads, get leads, etc. You guys can watch his whole video. It's 30 minutes. It's an awesome video. Sam Ovens, highly recommend it. If someone learns a fundamental skill like Facebook ads or something, it's almost like running CSGO on a 2008 laptop, right? It's never gonna work. It's just gonna be slow as shit. It's not gonna make sense. It's gonna break. You're not gonna be able to play the multiplayer games because the computing system, because the actual OS, the computing of it is just all fucked up. You just can't play it. It's just an old computer. You need a new fast computer to even play the game, okay? And the way you slow down your computer, which is your brain, is by thinking in the analogy way your entire life, because it just brain rots you. It just rots you to the core with just principles that don't make sense, right? And if you don't understand how principles work and you can't think in 1 + 1 = 2, then you're gonna have a really, really hard time using your tactical skills to start a good business. Now, the first thing that people get wrong, which is crazy, even like older people, I've talked to like, my parents, my grandparents even, the first principle thinking about money is wrong. And you guys probably see this every single day. They think it requires a lucky break. They think it's, only for famous people and, really high IQ businessmen. They think it's like super complicated to do. They don't break it down to what actually is money. How do you make money? They think money's reserved for a certain type of person. They don't understand that is simply a value exchange. Someone wants something and they're willing to pay you for that something. So the way that they think, it's just a story. It's just a facade. It's not real. It's something that they have just gone with for years and years, and someone told them that, and then someone told them that, and then it got to them. And so they think, oh yeah, making money is for, people that are just, out of our league. They think it's for certain people. And they may not even say that, but subconsciously they think that, right? They think it's something that only certain people that are meant to make money do, or like celebrities, etc. So that keeps people exactly where they are for a really, really long time. So money, at the end of the day, is just a value exchange. You make money when you provide value to somebody else. That's it. Stop. Nothing else. That's it. That's all it is. Every legitimate dollar ever made, from a lemonade stand to $1 billion Amazon corporation, Tesla corporation, has been a value exchange. So now that you understand that as the value, and you would have never got there if you never did first principle thinking, then the whole thing would have been fucked from the start. Now it's not how can I make more money and how can I put more hours into my job to, save more money. It's how do I provide more value? And you see how that one question, because you did first principle thinking, is gonna change your entire game that you're playing. It's gonna change everything. So how do I provide more value to more people more efficiently? That's the sort of questions and that's the sort of things that you have to answer to actually make money, instead of, oh, how do I just make more money? You have an actual tangible first principle that's undeniably right. So I want to tell you guys about the week that changed my life and got me into first principle thinking, and then literally shot my entire entrepreneur career up once it finally clicked in my head. I was working at a restaurant. I was doing my 9 to 5. I was constantly scrolling on YouTube trying to figure out how to make more money, how to start a business, how to run Facebook ads, how to, get into crypto coins and get my lucky, crypto lick, whatever it was. I was just doing a bunch of shit over and over to make myself feel productive. I finally was just done, okay? I was stressed out. I was done. I was sick of, not having money to pay my rent. So I just stopped. I went dark. I didn't give up. I just stopped, okay? I stopped for a second. I just thought, okay, I'm just going to stop flooding my brain for a week. All right, I'm not going to do no content, no Alex Hormozi podcast, nothing. I'm not going to do absolutely anything except just sit and think. So I was thinking, okay, what business model should I start next? And then I stopped. I go, no, what business model do people want? Okay, what is going to get someone to pay me? How can I get someone to pay me? And I thought, okay, if I could find someone $1,000, if I could find someone a paying client of $1,000, they'd probably be willing to pay me $100. So how do I do that? How do I convince someone to give someone else $1,000? So I was thinking, not what business model do I need next, okay? Because I didn't have any fundamental understanding. I couldn't do that. I knew I couldn't do it yet. I just needed consistent cash flow to get out of my job, to have more time to think about how to get out of my situation. So I needed consistent cash flow that wasn't really based solely on my time and just working hourly. What creates that? What creates consistent cash flow? A skill set that is really, really valuable to someone that has money. So I was like, what can I realistically develop a skill set quick so I can get paid more money for my time? And I was thinking, this is kind of like a weird example, but like a massage person, like someone that's really good at giving massages to like rich people and stuff like that. It's kind of like word dogs at the beginning of it. They can get paid a lot of money. They could probably get paid like $350 to $500 per session if they get good at it. So it's kind of like, what skill set can I learn really, really quick that requires pretty much no capital upfront to do, that I could get paid more money for and get consistent cash flow? And I came up with it. All right, I was sitting there serving food every single day at my restaurant job, and I was getting a 20% tip based on how much those people liked me. All right, and I was getting a lot of tips. All right, I was pretty charismatic. I was doing pretty good at it. So in my head, I was like, I'm gonna do sales. I'm not gonna do car sales. I'm not gonna do some bullshit I didn't want to do, because I know that they didn't really even make that much money, right? Like, I knew car sales, and some of my friends they were making like 5, 6, 7 grand a month. That wasn't that much money. I wanted to make a lot of money in sales. So I was like, how can I sell for the richest people? Who are the richest people right now? The streamers, the influencers, the course sellers. Those guys are rich. So I thought in my head, okay, I'm gonna become a sales rep for those guys. And they're gonna say yes to me because I'm normal, I'm young, I'm hungry, I wanna do this. So why wouldn't they say yes? I'm already pretty charismatic, I'm already kind of well-spoken. Why wouldn't they let me on their team and sell some of their products for them and then just get a commission on everything I sell? Bam, that right there, that thinking right there was like a crazy moment for me. No podcast told me that. No scrolling inspired me to come up with that. I just thought for a little bit. I sat there and I just uncluttered my brain and thought for a second. Okay, skill set, people need skill set. I'm gonna do sales because people want sales. Who should I sell for? The richest people, influencers, streamers, etc. Now, what is sales? It's persuading someone to make a decision that solves their problem. That's all sales is, right? Down to its core. So to do that, I needed three things. I needed communication, articulation, and some sort of persuasion help. So I immediately bought books on those three things, right? I didn't buy books on those three things to start a business model. It was because I was now working from the bottom up, okay? Now I started to gain momentum. You guys see what I'm doing here? So everything I did from that point on, it wasn't podcast, it wasn't inspiration, it wasn't, watching $1 million entrepreneurs on YouTube. It was those three things: communication, articulation, and persuasion. I was focused on that because I had an actual goal to work towards now. So once I had those three skill sets down, I studied them for a while. I figured, okay, how do I find a rich person to sell for? All right, I needed an influencer. So I started looking up on YouTube. I started looking at these course seller guys in Miami. I started looking at, a bunch of people in LA, whatever. And I would just DM them on Instagram. Hey man, can I be a sales rep for you? Can I be a sales rep for you? Eventually over time, someone hit me back. I used my 3 skills that I'd been studying for the past couple months, and they hired me. And that right there, from that moment, I made $3,000 my first month, $6,000 my second month, $10,000 my third month. I tracked all of my stuff on my second YouTube channel, which is linked down below. I vlogged the entire journey of literally from my dorm room, finally figuring out first principle thinking, actually working from the bottom up, and my entire life changed, okay? And then I literally started as a sales rep. I was making $30,000 to $40,000 per month in straight commissions after I did this, after I was working for this said influencer. And then I ended up teaching people how to get into high ticket sales. Then I started building sales teams for these influencers, and that got me fucking rich, okay? Now everything I do, I'm so grateful I learned this first principle thinking early, because now every decision in my business just explodes it. Like literally we were doing $120,000 a month 2 months ago. Now we're about to do $220,000 this month, just 60 days later, because now I actually break things down to the core and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and work from the bottom up instead of from the top down, okay? Everyone goes from the top down. They think, how do I make money? Oh, run Facebook ads. No. You have to understand, what is money? Why do people actually give you money? Oh, value exchange, skill sets, etc. So you can work from the bottom up. That's the real key. That's the key to actually making money. Now, here's the thing. How do you actually do it? You're probably gonna watch this video like, oh, principles, cool, and then just go on your day and scroll on TikTok. So how do you do this, okay? How do you actually process what you're gonna do next, okay? The process is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You have to think to yourself, I'm not gonna erase this whole thing. I'm just gonna erase. You gotta think to yourself, what do I need? Me. What do I need? I'm writing like a literal third grader because I dropped out of college, okay? I'm not a school guy. Listen, I just use first principle thinking to make myself money. Okay, what do I need? What do I actually need? Think about it, okay? It's gonna be, everything's gonna be different from person to person. So instead of copying these gurus that you see online and thinking, oh, I'm gonna run Facebook ads, I'm gonna start day trading and I'm gonna become rich. No, think, what do I need? What do I actually need? Not what would be cool, not what did this guy on this podcast say? What do I need? Then ask yourself a few more questions. Why do I need that? What creates that? What is it actually made of at the fundamental level? And lucky for you guys, majority of stuff that you guys need is what everyone needs, okay? You guys need more money. You guys need skill sets. You guys break things down to a fundamental level, but majority of you guys all probably want and need the same thing, which is number one, consistent cash flow. So just like me, that I explained my entire process of how I figured it out, you guys can copy that, okay? You guys need consistent cash flow probably if you're watching this video, and if you don't need consistent cash flow, maybe you need help scaling your business and you can break that down to a fundamental level. But just starting off with, if you need consistent cash flow, you have to understand that you need more value. You need more value to provide. How do you provide value? You get really, really good at skill sets. Then you find rich people that can monetize those skill sets. I'm in Miami right now, and I know a few dudes that are like pretty decent sized streamers, right? And we were hanging out the other day, and all they were talking about is, I need a good cameraman. I need a good cameraman. I need a good cameraman. Think about some kid in his room who's probably 18 years old that hates his life. He probably has no money. If he were to just pick up a camera for 6 months and get somewhat good at video editing and somewhat good at pointing a camera at someone else, they could make like 8 to 10 grand a month live in Miami, hang out with all these famous streamers, and completely change their life if they just learned first principles thinking of how do I provide more value to rich people. Okay, that's it. How do I provide value to rich people? So majority of people fuck up because they copy other people. They copy the funnel, they copy the business model, they copy the way that they move, they copy the car that they drive, because they're copying the outputs. They're copying the outputs without understanding the inputs and why the inputs work. So I'm gonna give you guys a framework you can use, an actual tangible framework. So I'm gonna give you guys an actual tangible framework you can use. The lighting's getting bad, but who cares? Hopefully you guys can still see this whiteboard that you guys can actually use in your life. So when you're facing any sort of major decision, let's just say, what business should I start? That's a pretty big one. What business should I start? I want to start a business. What business should I start? All right, let's break it down. What is it actually? Okay, let's just say I want to start a marketing agency. Marketing agency. What is a marketing agency at its core? A marketing agency is bringing in leads for a business. Why does a business bringing leads in? Why does a business want leads? A business wants leads to make more money, okay? Why does a business want to make more money? You can't really break it down because they want to feed their family, whatever it is. All right, so all you're doing for a business, when you're starting a business, you are just providing the value. You're providing the value. So I went over this 15 times. So you guys understand that it's building value. So now you have to ask yourself, what do you need to do from there? So rather than asking the question of what business model should I start, you have to break it down and then ask yourself, what do I need to do from here now? So any major decision you guys are facing, all right, how do you actually break it down to its core? Any single major decision you guys are facing, how do you break it down to the core, okay? So this video's been going on for a long time, I'm yapping, but I'm gonna give you guys an exact roadmap of what you can do when any sort of, major thing comes up in your life and you guys wanna break it down to first principles thinking, this is what you're gonna do. Step one is anything that you're trying to do, whether it's, what business should I start? Should I date this girl? Deconstruct. All right, deconstruct and ask yourself, what actually is this down to the core? Okay, why am I doing this? What does this require at this time from me? What does this skill set or what does this business actually consist of? What does this girl that I want to date, what are the traits that she has? Now, you want to keep digging until subjectively, inarguably, what you have came up with is true. Like I said, when you're asking questions like, how do I actually make more money? Oh, put in more hours, this, that. No, you provide more value to more people in a quicker manner. That's how you actually make more money. So do that with every single decision until what you say is inarguably, undeniably right. Now that you actually know the inarguable truth, you can start to build back up. Now that you know that making money is inarguably providing value, you can start to build up from there instead of just making up principles on your own. But you watching this video, I'm gonna make it easier for you. You probably need cash flow. To get cash flow, you need a really, really tangible skill. You need valuable skills that you can provide to rich people. So I made a 4-hour free sales course down below. You guys can literally learn everything about sales, and once you know everything about sales, you can use that skill set to start to sell for rich people, rich influencers, rich gurus, rich course or whatever you want to do with that skill set of sales, depending on your goals, you can do with that. So click that link down below. Majority of you guys probably won't even watch that video. You probably haven't even made it this far. You might just go scroll on TikTok or something after this. But for the 1% or 5% that want to actually take their skill set serious and change their life and start to do, bottom up thinking, you guys can learn that skill set of sales. I put everything I've learned from the past 3 years of selling, going from 0 to 30, 40K a month in pure commissions in that video. So if you guys want to watch that video, watch it. And if you came from the second channel, comment the word sold, S-O-L-D in all capitals. So I know you came from my second channel. I'm going to be picking one person that comments the word sold to give a paid in full hoodie to. Pretty cool. I don't even know if anyone's going to do it. Shit. I don't even know if anyone's going to do it, but you guys can do that if you want. Thank you guys so much for watching. A lot of people are not going to implement this, but I promise you from someone that actually did it and it changed my entire life to the core, like literally flipped it 180. I live a really, really good life now that I really can't complain about. I make as much money as possible. I have a lot of freedom. I travel. I don't even mean to say that to brag or flex. I just want to emphasize the fact that if you guys just take a little bit of time, take 4 months, 6 months, a year to just figure out first principle thinking, you will never, ever, ever regret it, and your life is going to be so much easier. It's going to be so much easier to make these decisions that you feel like are hard right now. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully someone got value out of this video. Please like and sub. I'm dropping 3 videos a week, giving you guys actual sauce from a business owner that makes $200K a month at 22. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.